I have a stick. I have another stick. Put them together. What do I get? Chopsticks. Today, we will be picking apart chopsticks. We will start with where chopsticks came from, how do you use them the right way, and how the word chopstick came about. So where did chopsticks come from? Well, actually, nobody knows. Yeah, chopsticks literally just magically showed up. Doesn't matter what tales you may have heard, none of those origin stories have any actual proof. The only thing that we can verify is that the oldest pair they've found is over 3,000 years old, hailing from China's Shang dynasty that lasted between 1600 and 1046 BC. There's more to it. In around 91 BC, renowned historian Sima Qian wrote that fancy ivory chopsticks, yes, made out of elephant tusks, were already being used by Shang dynasty royalty. So if they had a luxury high-class version by then, ordinary, everyday chopsticks could have been around long before that. That's why it's often stated that chopsticks very likely have a history of at least 4,000, if not 5,000 years, even though there isn't much physical evidence to go on. Because after all, it's hard for a couple of thin wooden sticks to survive that many millennia. Now that we have a bad answer to the when, is there an answer to the why? Well, no, because nobody knows who thought they were a good idea in the first place. Not only did they magically show up, they magically went viral as well. All we can speculate is that chopsticks got big because people found them more elegant and civilized than a fork. Wait a second, a fork? China didn't have forks. Yes, they did actually. You heard me right. China is also home to the world's first table fork, found in the artifacts of the Qijia culture dating back to over 2,000 years BC. Ugh, all this is hurting my head. We haven't even gotten to the hard part yet. Okay, I need focus. Magic mind. Magic mind. Oh, that's great. Okay, so speaking of great inspiration, I use Magic Mind to clear up my thinking and focus my mind to help me create these videos that always go viral. Magic Mind is an all-natural, alertness-boosting shot of clear-headedness that vaporizes your brain fog so you can do what you need to get done without the harsh ups and downs of espresso or neon-colored energy drink. Now, you might be saying to yourself, hey Jared, what do you know about focus? Well, I have a master's degree in Chinese medicine. From an ancient Chinese point of view, Magic Mind has many powerful ingredients like green tea, turmeric, and of course cordyceps and lion's mane mushrooms, ingredients that have stood the test of time. And just like Confucius said, after a long day of rites and rituals at the temple, drink Magic Mind. Thanks to Magic Mind for sponsoring this video, and you can get a 45% discount in the link below. Check it out. Back to myth busting your chopsticks. So we all know that Confucius talked about Magic Mind, obviously, and he went in the description below and got the discount. He crushed it, totally did. But did he ever talk about chopsticks? Did he actually say forks and knives were too violent for the table and chopsticks were the cultured and discerning alternative? Actually, no. He only wrote about them twice, both in the Li Ji, or Book of Rites, without any mention of knives or violence. The first quote was simply, 饭薯无以助, which means, don't eat millet with chopsticks. Probably because millet is so tiny that it's hard to look civilized when eating with chopsticks. That is reasonable, very reasonable. The second was 羹之有菜者用加，其无菜者不用加. If a soup has vegetables, use chopsticks. If it doesn't, don't. Genius. That makes so much sense. picking up veggies with chopsticks is better than trying to slurp them. And you can't really drink pure liquid with 2 sticks now, can you? Actually, maybe you can. And that's it. That's everything he ever wrote about chopsticks. Basically, just a couple common etiquette things in order to not look like a total idiot at the dinner table. See, the reason why he's mentioned all the time in regards to chopsticks is only because he was all about building polite and proper society. And later generations assumed his insistence on being civilized led to chopsticks' hegemony over the fork. It's mostly just inferring and paraphrasing things based on his opinions and principles. That's not the only bombshell, however. You see, in the early days, chopsticks weren't actually used for eating. That's right. Why? Well, because, shockingly, rice wasn't always a thing in China. I know we're getting into it today. Before the Han Dynasty, the staple carbohydrate was millet porridge. You can't really eat that with a couple of sticks. Instead, chopsticks were used for picking up ingredients when preparing food, stirring the pot while cooking, and serving individual pieces of food. As the cultivation of rice became more widespread in around the 100 BC, so did the use of chopsticks. As they proliferated throughout East Asia, the distinctions between cooking, serving, and eating with chopsticks became more clearly defined. This heritage has been passed down very clearly in Japan and Vietnam, with chopsticks for cooking food and serving food, each having their own names and entirely separate categories. In China, these differences have become less distinct, but are still somewhat visible, generally in terms of materials. Chopsticks made of plastic could deform or give off chemicals when heated, and ones made of metal could react in undesirable ways and would also just be too hot to hold. So wood is the preferred material for cooking. For serving, there's no major physical distinction, but there is the concept of gongkuai, literally public chopsticks, an extra shared pair specifically for serving others and yourself so people don't dig into the public plates of food with their own saliva-laden pair of chopsticks. Speaking of digging, there's also the issue of etiquette. There's a whole set of no-nos in regard to how to use your chopsticks. There are a few egregious errors that you should avoid, like pointing your chopsticks at someone, and also digging for your food. Traditional Chinese meals are all about communal plates rather than personal servings. And going all archaeological on a shared plate to unearth the bits you like gives off the impression that you're a spoiled brat. Either grab only what's on top or wait until what you want shows up on top. Another is banging your chopsticks on your bowl. Not only is it super annoying, beggars on the street would do this to call for attention to try to get food or money. And you can't grow up to be a beggar now, can you? No, you're supposed to be a doctor or a lawyer, not a YouTuber. The last big one is sticking your chopstick vertically into your bowl. This is a big deal because it looks a lot like how Chinese people pay respect to their dead ancestors by sticking incense sticks into a bowl of sand. Thou shalt not disrespect ye ancestors. Where did the word chopstick actually come from? In ancient times, they were called zhu. Now, you don't really hear that anymore, but you do see it. The Min Chinese in southeastern China preserved this name, and their Tiochi dialect, chopsticks, are actually called du, and in their Hokkien dialect, they're called ti, but it goes way beyond China too. In Vietnam, they're called dua, which is once again derived from the Chinese zhu, and isn't too far off from the Teochew. In Japanese, they're called hashi, which is the kanji form of zhu. In Korean, chopsticks are represented as jiu, which, while it can only exist in conjunction with other characters, also comes from the Chinese character zhu. Cool. How Chinese linguistic influence really permeated throughout Asia, right? Yeah, okay, you're probably telling me to get on with it and actually teach you some usable Chinese. Sure, no problem. Here is the first word, jia. This means to pinch or to clamp, and is the verb you would use to describe the action of picking something up with chopsticks. If you add the wood radical, mu, to it, it becomes jia, which is another archaic term for chopsticks. Anyway, as the language developed about 1,000 years ago, they picked up their current name, kuaizi. Kuai is derived from the word quick, which sounds exactly the same, kuai. The difference is they took the character for bamboo, zhu, and they took its radical form, which is this, and stuck it on the top to create this character, kuai, which is to imply these are fast sticks of bamboo. So creative. Now, as for zi, beats me. Probably just sounds better adding it in, right? So the Chinese add zi to a lot of things. For example, the word example, lizi. The word for kid, haizi. The word for box, hezi. It's just a thing to put zi at the end. Anyway, now that we have the Chinese down, what about English? Yeah, well, I don't actually have a great answer for that either, and I don't think anybody really does. The first recorded instance of the word chopsticks was from a bunch of English sailors that said that's what they were called. Wow, clearly the greatest bastions of accurate and definitive international multicultural knowledge. The explanation? Well, you know the English phrase chop chop, as in hurry up. That actually came from what's called Chinese Pidgin English, a hodgepodge of simple slang derived from words of multiple languages into a way for people that speak mutually unintelligible languages to kinda sorta communicate with each other. And chop chop is a derivative from the Cantonese kuk kuk, which literally means speed speed. And so, one way for another, quick ended up being kuk, and the somebody on that ship decided essentially to call them speed sticks, which I guess isn't actually totally wrong. By the way though, if you're looking to learn Cantonese, nobody really uses the phrase kuk kuk anymore, just so that you know. Even though chopstick history is a little blurry, the chopstick culture definitely isn't. Armed with all this info, you can now confidently have dinner in Chinatown and not worry about committing any silly faux pas to bring shame upon 10 generations of your family. But real talk though, until next time, I'll leave you with a big-brained mind magic move. Next time you pop open a bag of chips, try eating them with chopsticks. Your TV remote will thank me. Wait a second. I just realized I didn't teach you guys how to use chopsticks. Okay, video's not over, How to use chopsticks. First, start with one chopstick. Put it in the part in between your index finger and your thumb. Take your ring finger, and that is the stabilizer. Okay, so I see it from that point of view. You see it from that point of view. This doesn't move. You then take the top one. You use your thumb, index finger, middle finger, and that's how you hold it. This gives you the most stability, and you can pick up even the toughest things to pick up, even drinking. Mind magic actually is very good, I must say. So for chopsticks though, sometimes you'll see people, they'll put them together like this, and they'll do a thing like this. And that is definitely very wrong, and you will be made fun of by everybody if you try and pick things. See, I can't, it's hard to pick anything up. Like, see, I can't do it. Don't do that. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed the chopsticks and all the knowledge. Be sure to get your mind magic, and I will see you in the next video. 再见!